finally, we have sunlight when we start broadcasting, because Wednesday is welcome everyone to the Red and the Blue Soccer Chats. We are here with sprunging. Yes, sprunging. Just
Sprung.
like Sir Mix-a-Lot. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us. My name is Evan. This is Aaron.
Aaron.
And he hadn't messed up. Neither has his team. Aaron representing Manchester
Not
United.
recently, no.
Me representing Chelsea. We've got some good stuff to talk about tonight, man. We've got some really good stuff.
For a change, I think we both come into this show with a little bit of excitement, and I wore the Believe shirt. That's what you got to do as a fan. You got to believe, and we'll get to belief a little bit later. But
Beliefs.
Evan, how's your week been?
My week been? It's been good. It really has. It's been good. I will say this every day. I am able to wake up and say I have all my faculties about me. That I'm able to,
So you are faculty with faculties.
Faculty with faculties.
There you go.
And
right
you know
on.
what? If I'm upright and breathing, then I'm living a dream, man. So how about you? What's up with you?
No, man. I had a pretty good weekend. Can't lie. Enjoyed my weekend.
Yes.
On many levels, and
what levels were those?
The week's been good.
What alcohol blood levels were? What?
Yeah, well, I made the very, very smart decision to get a ride up and then Uber home. As you all should. Or actually, I believe I chose Lyft.
We Lubered. We
Lubered.
as
We
well?
Lubered.
So anyway.
We Lifter-bird. There was alcohol consumption, both from the soccer game and St. Patty's Day.
But
so
St. Patty's Day was a huge day. I mean, it was a big day. It was a big day for Chelsea, but it was an absolutely monstrous day.
I mean, I think one, you got two really good, from a neutral's perspective, exciting football matches in the FA Cup. I guess we might as well hop in. Obviously, Chelsea started strong. We're up 2-0. Really looked to be cruising.
Yep.
And then kind of an unfortunate flukish own goal. I'm not sure that you even try to put blame here, because he gets hit as he's trying to pass it back. The one thing I notice is that
Disasi.
Yeah, Disasi.
Yeah.
He did not know where his goalkeeper was.
No, he didn't.
You can tell that even the miss hit, or he got bumped as he hit it.
Yeah.
When he looked up, he realized it doesn't matter that happened. I was passing to where my goalkeeper was not.
Well, when he looked up, hey, wait a minute now. Let's just let's do it. Thank you, my friend. That was nice. That was very nice. I think he looked up and he thought about it. He thought about this. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I hope the first row of fans can't smell poop because I just crapped my pants." It was unfortunate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just unfortunate. It's one of those things. You saw Sanchez come up. You saw Chilwell come up and be like, "Dude, it's okay.
It's part of the game." But our clubs are a little fragile right now, and Leicester saw it as an opportunity to get themselves in the game, and for the next 15 minutes, they really did.
Yeah.
I think the sending off obviously works in your favor.
Yep.
I'm thinking in that position, and it was probably ultimately the correct call, but I think in that position you're like, he can stay on the field, but we'll take the penalty. We'd rather have the goal.
Right, yes.
But, to their credit, Chelsea stuck at it, and the rest of that half was just more of them. I think they took, what did I say, like 20-some shots on goal.
26 shot attempts.
26 shot attempts.
8 shots on goal. So
eight on goal.
Not bad, dude. That's not bad at all.
And they scored 4 goals. So, ultimately it paid off, and you kind of felt like it was going to happen. But I want to talk about 2 specific things.
Okay.
And take these in whichever order you would like.
Sure.
How important is Cole Palmer to the success of Chelsea right now? And how concerned are you that Chelsea have a tendency to, even in matches where they get a lead and appear to be in control, struggle to kind of close it out?
Let me answer the first one,
Yeah.
or the second one first.
Sure.
2 months ago, I am more concerned than I am now, and here's why: is because we see this from teams and clubs that are established, that are good, that are just that you find a way to win. I think Chelsea has this thing about them that 3 or 4 times during a match, you literally sit there and you're like, what the hell are we doing? Like, what are we doing right now? And I think that's 2 things. Number one, that is a manager who is trying to solidify the team, asking his team to do stuff that they're not quite comfortable with yet. And then number 2, I think it's youth. I think it's age. Has a lot to do with that. And they are still, in this process, learning to play together during the season. That, we don't have very much time left in the season. And what you're starting to see is a gel take place here.
Yeah.
They're starting to gel. I still wonder about substitutions. I don't know what Nicholas Jackson has done as far as to endear himself to Pochettino, but Nicholas Jackson creates wonderful chaos when he's out on the field, and the problem is that that's okay, but there are times when we absolutely need to put a game away.
Yeah.
And he's not capable of putting a game away.
I think one thing that's working in his favor right now is you're just not deep enough.
Yes.
There's not a lot of serious competition at that position to unseat him, and therefore I think Pac has made a decision of, this is what I've got, so I'm going to stick by him. It's almost like Antony for United for a little while.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really have a ready-made replacement for this guy, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna just put him out there and give him games and say, I hope you come good.
And last show I was saying, why don't you put Raheem Sterling there? Well, I got to thinking about this, and you're absolutely right. It's not Raheem Sterling's strength to play a 9. It's not his strength, and I think that after you said that, now that I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, yeah, who do we do that? Who do we put there? I mean, do we risk another injury to him and put Nkunku there? I don't think so. I think, like you said before, I think that we continue to slow roll him back into the lineup and to show for next season, say, hey, we're going to be that much better when this guy is fit, he's healthy, and he can withstand injury.
Yeah, I don't think risking him in a situation where, I think if you make a late season push here, find yourself in 7th place or something like that, then maybe it'll be tempting to start him a bit more, integrate him a little bit more. But I think in a season where you're like, this is who we are, let's not harm him.
Right.
Because he's the future.
And I think that's where we're going to land, because I was going to ask you this tonight to kind of, with, I don't know, 10 weeks, 9 weeks left?
Something like that.
Yeah. To just kind of predict where Man U's going to land, I do think Chelsea will finish 8th.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we'll finish 8th.
I can see that.
We'll be top of the table. I think we can get past West Ham and Brighton. By the way we're playing now, like I said, I see this gelling happening, and so that answers your second question. I'm not too concerned, because a team that's on the come up, on the rise, they will find a way to win, and I'm loving what I'm seeing about Chelsea. The other thing I was going to say about that is that when you're watching a match, and all of a sudden your team starts to build. And they start to build a play, they start to build something, and it turns into a goal. You can feel it. You're like, okay, this is going to work. This looks good. I'm starting to get those instances with Chelsea. I'm starting to see Chelsea put things together. Their passes are sharper. They're quicker. They're moving toward the ball. They're able to get more and more guys there. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And so that's why I'm not too concerned with the kind of mid-second half lull. I will be concerned when we start playing more of the top tier teams. We to have a performance like we had against City, that took 90 minutes of concentration, making sure that you were solid. Yes. Once again, Disasi and Caicedo, that was their best game so far this year. And that's what you need from all your guys. Okay. The first question, Cole Palmer. I mean, this guy is literally our Phil Foden. He's our Foden. He is our
the irony of that.
I know.
Given that the reason he probably left City was because he couldn't get
playing time there. But he is literally that person. He's our Foden. Our for Man U, he would be our not Bruno. He's our Eriksen when Eriksen was playing really sharp and when he was really playing well with
link up play.
Yes, link up play. He's that kind of player, and I just see him starting to heat back up.
Yeah.
There were a couple matches that he kind of got cold.
Yeah.
But he's really found himself a home at Chelsea, I think, and I think that as long as we're able to continue developing these guys and letting them play together consistently, we're going to see things like this. Blues fans, we're going to lose leads. We just are. We're going to lose leads, but we are starting to develop the wherewithal in order to get the lead back.
So the international break, comes at a time for both of us where we're trying to build some momentum, and obviously want guys to go off and play well with their national teams because I think that's beneficial.
Yep.
But the downside of that is, guys immediately report. And do you know the extent of Cole Palmer's injury?
I do not.
Okay.
I do not.
All they said was he did not train. He trained by himself, meaning he did private workout. But Harry Kane he came into camp and they knew he was injured. So I think a lot of this is precautionary. I'm not so sure because the fact that he still went in and did some work leads me to believe it's maybe a light muscle strain or a knock of some sort. And you don't want to risk that stuff, especially when everybody wants to play against Brazil at Wembley or wherever it is. But
yes. I'm looking.
It's a friendly.
Yeah.
And I think you're like, okay, I'm glad to be called up, but ultimately, let's not risk things.
Yes, and I agree with that. I'm not seeing anything like, oh my God, Cole Palmer isn't
right.
It's probably a tweak. It's know probably better than I do. It's probably like an ankle or a quad or something like that. Hopefully, it's not a quad because that stuff can take a long time.
Well,
to come
if
back.
It were serious, what tends to be the trend is if it's a more serious injury, they send the player back home so he can rehabilitate with his club. So the fact that he's sticking around leads me to believe that one, Southgate wants him to be a part of this group.
Yes.
And two, it probably isn't that serious. You're right. Maybe he tweaked an ankle, somebody stepped on his foot kind of thing, and you're just like, do the light workout, do the bike, do the pool, do weight work, whatever you're doing, tactical stuff in the classroom kind of thing, and be ready to go tomorrow or whenever. They don't play till Saturday, so it's not that big of a deal. And and again, it's a friendly. They're going to chop and change. They're going to make probably a lot of substitutes in the second half.
Yes. So, Football London reports Cole Palmer sparks massive Chelsea injury scare after England's statement. Chelsea injury news is Cole Palmer not involved in full team training with his country on first day of England camp. It seems like, he's training. It says he's training indoors.
Yeah. Until more comes out, I'm just not going to get too concerned because, like I said, if it were a real problem, then send him home. This isn't camp right before the World Cup.
Right.
And you're like, we're keeping guys together for camaraderie's sake.
Yes. And it says Palmer is one of several players on the Three Lions. You know what I mean? So
they're aware.
I'm not worried about it too much. And once again, these guys have the best, best medical crews around that you could ever have. So they're going to take good care of him. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
I could be okay.
So you kind of touched on it. Your prediction is 8th?
Yeah, I think 8.
Okay.
So now I want to. I mean, may I?
You may.
Not the drunk crowd. There we go. There you go, my friend. All right, so we are going to the city of Manchester, which we all know is owned by the Red Devils. Okay, so let's talk Man U. You know, I have one thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
How's your heart?
Dude, that game was
Oh my God.
absolutely crazy. It reminds me so much of what I fell in love with about this club.
Man, that's
the
awesome.
the excitement with the way they play, the willingness to say we could get scored on.
Yeah.
And say but we'll find another. And you know, when you hear things about, you know, club history and DNA and it sounds, you know, kind of froofy language, but the reality is some of these, it's in their identity. And
Yeah.
it's not to say that other clubs can't or haven't done this, but there becomes this sort of expectation. And I think players feel that. And I think you saw something in the way that those players rebounded from,
Man.
I mean, they started so strong. They started so strong.
Yeah, they did.
And like you were talking about how when you know, teams start to gel and you start noticing these patterns of play and, you know, a counterattack happens and you lean in because you're like, oh, I've seen what we're going to do here.
Yeah.
And I feel good about this.
Yeah.
And United had probably another good 2 to 3 of those chances before about halfway through the second half when Liverpool gained a foothold, began making United sit just a little bit deeper.
Which is what
gonna
good teams do.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, Liverpool is at a better place in their development, obviously, with what they've done in the last few years. But I think it's testament to United that, you know, they did get taken advantage of. They got pulled apart a little bit, and they gave up 2 goals right at the end of the second half. And the whistle came at the right time, because I think if they'd have played another 5 minutes, it might have been 3-1. But they had a chance to go into the locker room, regroup, and I felt like it was a pretty even affair.
Oh, yeah.
For most of that. I remember specifically talking about the stats at halftime and at full time, right before going into extra time. And I think United were just shading it in most categories. I think they had 11 shots and like 8 on goal or something like that, and Liverpool were 10 and 5 or some, you know, something like that. And certainly at the end of the game, it was very close. I know overall, I think United took 28 shots.
Yep.
28 shots with 11 on target. Liverpool 25 shots, 11 on target. We got 7 goals. I mean, to me, the beauty was, one, United said never say die. Got a goal through an unlikely character in Anthony, and especially him swiveling onto his, you know, shifting it to his right foot, and getting a goal. Rashford, you know, just working his ass off all day long,
Yeah.
gets the equalizer, and then Ahmad, a guy who's kind of
How about yes?
fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Oh, wait a minute.
It's
wait. Halftime.
It's halftime,
There
and
we go.
as always, want to say a big shout out to Chatham Tap, and also this is a chance to remind you that coming up on Thursday, April 4th at 3:15 in the afternoon is the annual Red and Blue Soccer Chat Derby Watch Party between Chelsea and Manchester United. We will be here. We'll be watching the game and talking about it and talking trash and talking to everybody in the bar
Talking trash.
and generally reveling in the beauty of football.
Yes.
So
Yes.
hope you can join us for that. It's an afternoon. Clear your schedule right now.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we've had to
Applause.
do. And but thank you as always to Chatham Tap and our
Chatham.
tip your servers.
Yes.
Tip well. Tip over 20%.
Oh wow.
If you can.
You
We're
said-
all in this together.
You said tip a lot. I was waiting for you to say other
Just
things.
the
I was
tip.
waiting for you to say other things. But anyway,
So yeah, I mean, you know, we what I thought was cool was a couple weeks ago there was a cup final between Liverpool and Chelsea,
yes.
and both teams seemed a bit hesitant to go for it. And I'm a little bit more critical of Chelsea in that situation
Sure.
because, in my opinion, this is your one chance for a trophy.
Yes.
Like, you throw caution to the wind.
Yep.
And also, you're more at full strength. Yes, you're going to extra time and guys are getting tired, but Liverpool have injuries and they've brought on a bunch of kids. And those kids are a little bit scared. They're not quite sure what to do. And both teams kind of sat back.
Yes.
And ultimately, Virgil van Dijk said, I'm going to settle this.
Right.
By contrast, in this game, United did say, this is our only chance at a trophy. So we're going to get our hands on it.
Let's get it.
Liverpool are thinking, this is our chance at, a second trophy.
Possible.
And we're going for a quadruple and all that jazz. And everybody went for it. And it was just balls to the wall. Still good football, but, I mean, gaps were appearing. I got to say this.
Yeah, there you go.
Bruno ran himself into the ground.
Guy couldn't walk.
He got clipped multiple times late on, couldn't walk, and essentially took on the center back / quarterback role. Harry Maguire was staying forward. I mean, I think we were basically playing a 1-9 at that point.
He was like, "You guys go. I got
this." I mean, he did, and they were still managing interesting situations. Anthony finished the game at left back, and he was not happy about it, but he did do the job.
Yes. And he scored.
He got himself a goal, and then Ahmad, comes on, has not had a lot of opportunities, showed a big spark, and then at the very end, it's kind of a poor corner from Liverpool. Ahmad charges it down. It ends up at the feet of, in my opinion, the man of the match. I'm tempted to give it to Bruno because what he did, but Garnacho is literally involved in every goal that United scores.
There you go.
He is a part of everything.
He played the whole match.
And he ran himself to death. And for a 19-year-old kid to show the level of heart and desire and poise and composure that he did throughout that game, this guy's a future superstar, and I hope it's with Manchester United in the long run. But that was an instant classic of a game. And when you've got Liverpool fans walking over saying, that was a great game, and I said it back, either team were worthy of winning that game. I'd have been disappointed, but the relief that I felt and how happy I was, and what you have to realize is you can't play that game if as the players, they don't believe in one another. That they don't believe in themselves, one another, and the ability of that crowd to elevate them. And they blew the roof off that place when they scored that goal.
I mean, I can't imagine the cleanup that had to happen that next day, man. It was like, it'd probably be like the Buffalo Bills Stadium. They're trying to get people to shovel snow. I mean, it's just that.
It was incredible.
Crazy.
And you could literally, I think, talk about every player that got on the field for Man U in that game. And Kabi, especially, I thought, had a great game. He did get taken off. His legs were waning a little bit. He got called up to the U21s, and then while he was called up, he's been called up now to the senior squad because a couple players had to drop out. And if we get an opportunity to see what I think we're about to see, Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice, and Kabi Mainu in central midfield.
Oh, my God.
And then you can have any combination of Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Raheem Sterling, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, the guy from Villa that's doing so well, the guy from West Ham that's doing so, Jared Bowen, Ollie Watkins. I mean, what England has,
they're stacked.
Available to them is amazing.
Man. They're stacked. I do have one question for you, though. Were you happy that Antony scored? And is this just delaying the inevitable? Or has he, over the course of the last couple games, proven his worth and is going to stay on the squad?
Well,
I know it's hard. I know it's a tough question, but
no, he's not done enough in the sense of what he needs to be doing. I don't think they get rid of him though, because they would be taking they would have to take a massive loss on him.
Big loss.
And I think they're in a position to look at this objectively and say, yes, there are a handful of players that we need to move on because of age or they're not working out for a variety of reasons. And it's tempting to get rid of Anthony. He's not performed well. He's had 2 seasons to prove it. But I'm not making excuses. Few teams have had the level of injuries consistently and in such. I mean, I don't know if they've played their first choice back line in 5 total games this season. Missing Lissandro Martinez and Luke Shaw for most of the season. So there's your entire left-sided defense turning into attack. And by the way, 2 of the best ball-playing left-footers defensively in the game.
I'd take Luke Shaw over almost anybody.
I mean, on his day, he's tremendous.
Yes.
So when you don't have that, and quite frankly, we have our backup has been hurt all season. Tyrell hasn't played a single game this year. So, we're making do. Lindelof was at left back. Anthony was at left back. We've played Amrabat there. I can't imagine, being where Ten Hag was, 8-9 months ago, entering this season thinking, okay, we won a trophy last year. Things are looking good. I got all these guys. And then one by one, these players start dropping. And you're like, well, what squad could recover from this other than a Manchester City who has got 2 or 3 guys at every position and youth that they can bring in ready to go?
Yeah.
United are, it's a good thing that the youth program is as good as it is because, I mean, Garnacho, Ahmad, Kambwala has gotten some time recently. I mean, but it's still not deep enough yet.
Let me ask you one more question, if I may. Being a Chelsea guy, I want to ask you, Mount looked good coming in. Well, who did he come in for? Lindelof. He came in for Lindelof.
Yeah.
Mount looked solid.
Yeah.
However, I would like to get your opinion. Is he a fit? Is he not a fit? Or are you not sure yet?
I don't think we know. I really don't think we know because didn't really get that many opportunities to demonstrate it early on, and
he got injured.
He got injured. Other players got injured. He's really worked hard to come back. I don't know what his best position is in general. I really don't. He played multiple positions for Chelsea.
Yes, right.
I kind of felt that inside left position was nice for him. Well, on a team with Garnacho and Rashford, you're not getting that.
Hard.
Can you play more centrally? Can you switch wings? Can you play as a false 9, which got used at a couple times at Chelsea, and kind of help the attack with Højlund? And I think that'll be the biggest test of him is how flexible is he willing to be? Can he find his own place in this team? And can him and Ten Hag come up with a rapport that says, I'm going to use you in these 2 or 3 different ways?
Yeah.
Is this going to work? Because there's a good player in there. My fear is he's, more Ross Barkley. Never quite gets there.
Boy, I hope not.
So I don't know because I like him. I've never been anti Mason Mount. I wasn't sure about the move, but he was a player that was available, and we needed to take some chances.
Sure.
So I think there's an element of that to it. And there are so many question marks right now simply because of the new ownership.
Yeah.
And, there was an article today that said even if Ten Hag wins the FA Cup, he's not going to stay. But it's all speculative at this point. These conversations are happening behind closed doors, and if somebody's being a big enough asshole to be leaking that, much like the players that we didn't like, then those are executives that need to go too.
Absolutely.
We cannot have this at the club.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the part of the show that we talk about the Patriots.
Yes, the men and the women.
The women,
yes,
just won the very first Gold Cup.
Yes,
which in impressive style. Like not impressive in the way that we expect, like a 4-0,
not like a sweeping
5-0,
aside,
like that. But a gritty, in my opinion, a gritty American performance.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I don't think anybody embodies that more than Alyssa Nair.
Oh, man.
The U.S. was winning that game, got tied up.
Yep.
Went into extra time. U.S. was winning that game, and Nair made a mistake. She didn't judge the flight of the ball correctly. She does take out the player. It's an appropriate call for a penalty. And going into PKs, she would have wanted to atone for that. And, making 3 saves and then scoring a penalty of your own as a goalkeeper, I don't know that you can do much more than that. And that was really impressive.
As a keeper, that is the ultimate boss move right there. I mean, if you can stop 3 PKs and then step up and score your own.
And I would say she stopped them. I think one of them was maybe a poor penalty, but it's the kind of penalty where if the goalkeeper dives the wrong way, it's still going in.
Absolutely.
I think Nair did a great job of waiting and reading the shooters, which you can do in the women's game a little bit more.
Yep.
You can afford to wait on them just a little bit because the power behind the shot isn't quite there. That said, if you're a female penalty taker, you're probably looking at high corners a little bit more than in the men's game because a 6'7" Thibaut Courtois has the quicks and the ability to make that jump.
Man.
Versus a lot of the female goalkeepers don't.
Chelsea guy.
This is, you play the game that's in front of you.
Yes.
But I thought they played great. I thought we saw the future really stepping in. Lindsay Rand is a very, very good coach, and Alex Morgan was out there kind of doing her veteran part, leading the way, but Neiswanger, Shaw, Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman.
Yes.
There are a number of players that we should be very, very excited about coming through the women's ranks. Women's soccer, women's sports in general, is taking off.
Yes, it is.
It's going gangbusters. There are more tickets sold for the women's Final Four thus far than for the men's.
Yep.
The TV coverage has been outrageous. Arsenal women yet again set another attendance record. I mean, it's crazy, and it's very much. I'm going to keep saying it. If you build it, they will come. The market was ready to take advantage of this.
Yep.
All you had to do was give them a handful of superstars to rally around, and we've got our, in the international game, Sam Kerr, Christine Sinclair. These women who've shown the way, and now this next generation. And it's so funny to talk about Sam Kerr as being a veteran because she's been around for so long, and she started at 16.
I'm the same way with Millie Bright. Like she's like one of my favorite gritty players, and
absolutely.
She's what 31?
Yeah,
30, 31. But here's the thing. Here's what I love about this team, and here's why we should get so excited about this team. Not because Emma's coming to town. That's something to be excited about.
That's a pretty good reason.
That's something to be excited about. But it seems like the adage is true for us. We are not rebuilding. We are reloading.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
that is where you want to be. I think that the USA women's team is reloading. I think that we have the makings of possibly one of the greatest women's teams that we've ever put on the field.
Potentially.
I think that because of our youth and because of where we are already, because of our youth, I think that Emma Hayes can come in and she can work her magic like she's done at Chelsea and can absolutely turn this group into world-class champions that we can win the World Cup maybe 3 times.
Well, and the quality and proliferation of women's professional club football in the last probably just 5-6 years has been amazing, right? Never before have the top players had multiple choices of leagues, multiple opportunities to express themselves. It's usually just been a handful, and if one team loads up on all those players, then of course you're going to have overwhelming success. But you got Barcelona, you got Arsenal, PSG, Man U, Chelsea leading the league right now.
Yeah.
And then all the teams in the United States in the NWSL.
And we're signing level of play. People for
quality money. Quality money now.
That's the thing.
I think we're just going to continue to see it in much the same way that Angel Reese,
Caitlin Clark.
I mean, their NIL deals are massive. They, Sabrina Ionescu has her own shoe.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, by the way. It's actually a very, very cool shoe.
There you go.
So the women's game is finally being taken as seriously and as importantly as the men's game, and that's only going to spell more success for, I think, the United States women's national team in particular, but I think the women's game in general. And,
Yes.
and we saw the draw today for the Olympics. I believe they've got, Germany and Morocco, if I have that correctly. I know the men drew France in one of their groups. So just, I think this is a wonderful time. I kind of wish I had, like, daughters right now. It'd be super.
Oh my goodness!
It'd be super cool to be
USA, Germany, Australia, and then I think there's a play-in game. So
but, I mean, it
might be the.
If you had school-age daughters right now, and to be able to point to Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Trinity Rodman, Sophia Smith, all of these wonderful female athletes that are finally able to express themselves too.
Yep. As a girl dad.
Yeah.
Like literally, like if I had hair on my arm because I had to shave it, it would be standing up. Because right now, the women's sports are on the rise, and they are absolutely just phenomenal in showing these young girls the fact that, you know what, you can be excited about going into a sport. You can condition yourself and be okay with getting your college degree, but then moving on to a professional sport. It's amazing to see this.
Barack Obama said it best: "These girls are badass."
Oh, I thought you were going to say, "Don't boo, vote."
Don't boo, vote.
There you go.
Talk about the men real quick.
Okay,
They've got a game tomorrow night in the
Yes.
CONCACAF Nations League. I think we've brought in a pretty strong squad for it. It'll be interesting to see who ultimately gets used for it. I believe it's the only game for the men during the international break. It's certainly the only competitive match, so they might
Tomorrow
have a
7.
friendly.
Yep.
But, you know, I think this is a chance for them to put down a marker and say, we are the dominant team in the region.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which competition we're in.
Yep.
We can field a team for that competition if we want to. We can field a B, C team if we need to and still beat you because of what we've got going on. And what we have going on is several players playing at an incredibly high level. I mean, top teams. This isn't, somebody's doing really, really well for like a mid-tier German team.
Right.
This is Christian Pulisic scoring goals and assisting for fun at AC Milan. Weston McKennie is got to be in the conversation of the top young center midfielders in the game right now. His assists have been sick. Yunus Musa, Tim Weah, but we've also got Josh Sargent scoring goals for fun at Norwich City. Pepe is looking great. Dest is crushing it at PSV. Just pretty much everywhere on the pitch, we've got it going on, and I'm sick of the Gio Reyna conversation.
I am too. But the expansion of our boys, our guys, our men into international markets, into international, leagues and things like that is the number one reason why.
Absolutely.
It's got to be the number one reason why we're able to put a team on the field.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it. It's the number one reason why we're able to put a men's team on the field that feels the same way as when we put a women's team on the field.
Yeah, I think we need to. I think the mentality needs to be we belong in every tournament that we're in, and not just that we belong, but that we should be fighting to advance, and putting ourselves in a position to win. Are we going to win the Copa America? I don't know, but I very, very much expect us to be competitive.
Yeah.
I expect us to win the Nations League, and then I expect us to go on to the 2026 World Cup, and I expect to make the semifinals.
My prediction, we win Copa. Win Copa. And we make the semifinals
of the
World Cup. I'm serious. This is the time, ladies and gentlemen.
He said it, and I second it. I'm with it.
We win Copa.
It's now or never. This is the best generation and the best grouping of players we've ever been able to put out on the field.
Age of players we have.
Yeah,
they're not too old,
absolutely.
and they're not so young that they don't know.
Ironically, our only question mark, I think, is at goalkeeper, which has historically been an incredibly strong position for us.
Yes.
And I like Matt Turner.
I like Matt.
But I think some of these young guys over the next couple of years might make a case as to why, hey, we love Matt Turner, but he started the game late. His footwork, his positioning is maybe not as good as it
Sure,
could be.
sure.
But for him to do what he's done in the last few weeks and kind of revamp that reputation, winning a shootout, making some big late game saves, I'm very happy, and I'm excited for this. So,
well, there you go. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what that does. That brings us to the segment that all of the drunk crowd loves.
Yes.
It is the yellow card, red card segment of our podcast. All the drunk crowd loves it because they are already on yellow cards, so they already sit on
they
yellow
are.
cards.
They know. They are Adama. They are Amad Diallo.
They are loyal.
I forgot I was on a yellow. I didn't mean to take my shirt off.
They
sir.
are loyal. I mean, they are loyal. So here's the deal. Aaron's going to give 2 yellow cards and then 1 red card. And I am going to just get out of the way and make some, make some snide comments on the side whenever you do the thing. So you're going to be the Johnny Carson, and I'm going to be the Ed McMahon.
Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
So my friend, first yellow card. Who does that go to this week?
Oh, I didn't give this enough thought this week, so I'm gonna have to kind of pause for a second.
Okay.
But I think the first thing I'm gonna say is.
And remember, ladies and gentlemen, this can be about anything. It doesn't necessarily have
It
to
can
be
be.
about
I try to
the
keep it to
beautiful
soccer
sport.
for the first part of
Yeah,
it.
but it can be about anything. So, I mean, it can be about cartoons. I mean,
I haven't thought about cartoons
I don't know.
lately.
I don't know.
You can see I'm stalling because
yes, I know. And I'm
give
trying to fill for you.
Didn't
I'm
give
trying
this
to
any
fill
thought.
for you. There you go. I am. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you ref a game and
Yeah.
everybody
Hey,
plays fair.
May I?
You may. I'll let you have
The first yellow card?
yellow card. Yeah,
The first yellow card.
I need to give some thought to this here.
I am going to give a yellow card to Virgil van Dijk. I noticed at the end of the match, Virgil left the field.
Oh, didn't clap the fans.
He clapped the fans, but then he left the field. Didn't interact with any of the United players or anything like that. Virgil, you know what, dude? You're too good of a player to not go over and congratulate somebody after an enormously awesome match like that. You're too veteran of a player. I'm giving you a yellow card for that, brother. I'm sorry, but, I know that you might be salty. You lost to United. But, dude, you got to give them their due. So I'm giving you a yellow card on that one.
I'm going to pour some lime juice in that wound. And I'm going to upset some people here.
Yellow
and I'm
card.
going to say...
Who gets the next yellow card?
No. I'm just going to piggyback on that.
Piggyback.
And say that Virgil van Dijk is not one of the top 5 best English center backs in the Premier League. It's just not. He's been a tremendous leader for that club at a time when they have experienced a level of success that they've not had before. And he scored some very, very important goals. But I have always thought he's a good defender, but he has never been a defender that I thought top players would fear.
Yeah.
Ask some of these guys that were big-time players what they thought about playing against John Terry, Nemanja Vidic,
There you go.
Saul Campbell.
Yep.
Okay. Virgil van Dijk is positionally very solid, but
He's a big guy.
age has come for him.
Yes.
And he's beaten off the dribble far too easily, and
Sorry.
it's hard to say this because he's very, very good. He's a very, very good player, and he's been a
Beating off the dribble.
he's been a very, very good captain for Liverpool.
Yes.
He's not one of the all-time greats.
No.
In the Premier League for the center backs.
No.
So,
No.
I'm sorry.
There it is. Wait, the drunk crowd. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Do you a second yellow
Yeah,
card?
I'm gonna switch gears here.
Okay, switch gears. Here we go.
Yellow card to the NCAA selection committee for, yes, we're biased here, leaving Indiana State out. And not just leaving Indiana State out, but for Virginia scored 17 points in the first half yesterday. 17 points. And you left Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
No.
Larry Nerd,
No.
Steph Blurry. You left him at home So you could watch the Virginia Cavaliers score 17 points in the first half of an NCAA play-in game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Nerd, and Steph Blurry.
Every once in a while, I cry at this podcast, and that's what I'm doing right now. All right, my friend, the red card goes to...
If this isn't obvious, I mean, you'll sense a pattern here, folks. But red card to congressional Republicans.
Oh.
You know, as one of the congressmen said today, for months now, we've been told about all this implicating evidence and how much Hunter Biden is an albatross, the Joe Biden family,
Impeachment.
and that he's implicating his father and all this stuff. And they haven't laid a fucking glove of evidence on Hunter other than showing pictures of him being naked at a party, which I'll be honest, you're all jealous of. You're all absolutely jealous that Hunter's getting some.
Where I thought you were going to go.
You're absolutely all jealous of it. But even further,
when I was at Cincinnati Bible College,
everything that has come out has been the exact opposite of what you want. You literally had your star witness today implicate all of the Trump administration as being puppets of Russian agents and counterintelligence. And, I mean, so much winning.
I know. That
so much winning. So, I'm just, if you would all just quietly apologize and go away, we won't stop making fun of you.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
But you won't keep putting yourselves in this situation.
Yeah.
Can you see which people went to law school and practiced, and which people went to law school and
drank beer?
Kind of fluffed. I like beer.
Well,
I like beer.
I like beer.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen,
real men like vodka.
Or Jameson. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Yes, that was a good yellow-red card segment right there.
Thank you for jumping in there.
Hey,
I needed a little help there.
I got you. So, ladies and gentlemen, what this does is this brings us to the end. Oh, okay, my friend.
Right.
We
have to wrap it up quick.
The Graham. This brings us to the end of the show and brings us to our final segment, which is the Aaron's Final Thoughts segment.
Yes.
And, this is, I think, just by reading your body language and everything like that, this is going to be a good one. I'm excited about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Aaron, what do you got for us, bro?
I got something I've touched on before, but this weekend was just such an opportunity to say it, and I wore the shirt. I wore the Believe shirt, and I've talked about it a little bit before, but this is games like this weekend are what make you a fan. Yeah. Chelsea completely in charge of a game against a championship side, an opportunity to advance to the semifinals of the FA Cup, the most storied cup competition in all of football, in all of sport. And then they found themselves a little pushback. Made a mistake. Other team jumped on them, tied things up. But they said no. Yeah. No. This is our chance. This is our opportunity. And they rallied. And as a fan, it's what you want to see from the players. But even more importantly, the players got a boost from the fans. The fans could turn on Chelsea. They've even kind of spoken out like, we're not sure where things are going. But the reality is, when you're in that stadium and the momentum of the game is swinging, it's your job as a fan to be there for your players, even when they're not playing as well as they could, because you might be the one, your voice might contribute to thousands of people lifting this team up and saying, go for it. And that's what happened, right? Got to the very end, and Chelsea said, no, we're ending this before it gets to penalties. We're not doing this again. We're not putting ourselves through that kind of mental stress, that physical stress, all of it. We're ending this game. 2 goals in injury time, and they said, we're off to Wembley. And then you know what? Manchester United, a team up against their arch rival, But you know what they said? They walked out at Old Trafford like every team. I don't care if they're in first place or last place in the Premier League. What every team who pulls on that shirt at Old Trafford has to do, and that is play for that badge and play for the 76,000 some odd fans in that stadium and say, we are here for you. And when the going got tough late in that game, that Old Trafford crowd said, we're here back for you. And that is what it means to be a fan of these clubs, to be there when you're needed, to stand up and be counted and be ready to support your team when a guy's looking down, a guy's looking, one of the best things I saw this weekend was Marcus Rashford had an opportunity in the game in regular time. Christian Eriksen punched this great little chip over the defense. Marcus cushions it beautifully. Very next move, rolls it. And the goalie did a great job of coming out on him. He just couldn't bend his foot. He couldn't wrap his foot around it. And it rolls past the post, and you think, opportunity gone, and damn it, you can't squander opportunities against Liverpool. And Marcus, face down, pounding the ground. And Bruno is there to run over and pick him up and say, no, we got you. And you know what? 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, Marcus is scoring the goal that ties the game up, that gives us an opportunity to win it, and then we go on. And if you've never heard anything like it, watch the YouTube video from the stands. From the video from the stands. Not the game, not the feed. I'm talking about the fans in the stands recording it. It's deafening. That's what it means to be a fan, and that's what it means to love one another, folks. And we love you. Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy to have you guys. Reminder, April 4th is the Red and Blue Soccer Chat Derby Watch Party at 3:15 in the afternoon. I think we may have a show the night before. I'm not sure where we are. So you might be able to double up on us in a week, and we love to get doubled up on.
And with
be sure to tune in.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. This is the Red and Blue Soccer Chat presented by the Evan and Aaron Show. We love you. Hashtag Black People Vote.
Hashtag say gay.
Peace.